What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. I cover political news. And folks, we always talking about the shadow campaign of 2020, where Democrats worked with the forces of labor and the forces of corporate, came together to work behind the scenes in the background. It was a conspiracy, a cabal, a group of people that came together to save the 2020 election from Donald Trump's assault on democracy. Yeah, when was he assaulting democracy in 2020? Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't at all before the election. Yeah, he wasn't ever, as a matter of fact. Did not assault democracy at one single turn. But they have been on this thing, assault on democracy. Oh, my democracy, y'all. It's crazy. But we know what they did, right? Like I've said it before 1,000 times. They cheated to win. That's how they won. A lot of people think, it was these machines over here and this and all that, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what it was. It was all the activists getting out there and going from door to door to just Democrat residences to get Democrats to vote by mail, to get a lot more pieces of paper than the other guys. They changed the rules around ballot harvesting. And they didn't notify the other side. Once again, I call it all the time. It's like a baseball game, right? You got Republicans versus Democrats. Well, you get to about 2 hours before the game starts, and the Democrat coach goes to the MLB officials and says, "Hey, hang on. Why don't we do this? I got an idea. Let's change the rules around stealing bases." Right? So the MLB officials are like, okay, that's fine. We'll do that. That's fine. Don't notify the other side. So when the game starts, Democrats start stealing bases in this new way that used to be illegal, but it's not illegal no more. So you got the Republicans over here, Donald Trump coach, right? He comes up and he's like, hey, umpire, what's going on here? That's fraud. There was rampant fraud during this whole game. What's going on? The the umpire's like, no, everything's fine. Look, right here in the book. They can do that. That's illegal. So you're left on your back foot like, what? That's not legal. Oh, come to find out it was. Come to find out it was. The Democrats played the game of procedure on the Republicans. They outsmarted the Republicans. Now, there was some fraud. There was a little bit. Donald Trump had 60 different court cases he brought. But guess what, folks? Most of them got turned down upon standing. In other words, they didn't have the legal authority to bring those cases. They would have had to get somebody that was actually defrauded by some of this fraud that went on to actually get the cases to be seen in court, to be heard, in other words, to get all the evidence laid out. And then the corporate press, they want to get out there and say, there was no evidence of widespread fraud. No, there was evidence. The courts just would not look at it. They refused to look at the evidence, which is insane. You got the top guy in the federal government, the president of the United States, got all this evidence, right? Let's look at it and filter it out and see what the hell's going on here. But instead, they want to say, oh, no, you don't have standing. Because a specific person in this specific county or district or whatever didn't bring the case. It was the president of the United States bringing the case. That's nuts, y'all. That's like having a murder case. Right? Somebody says, hey, look, I got video evidence that there was a murder that happened, that took place. And they say, no, you weren't the victim. So we're not going to look at the evidence. Like, you're going to let a murderer go free. That's how that happened, folks. They raw dogged Trump in 2020. And they did it through procedure. That's how they won. Through procedure. It is insane what they did. And to think that there's not going to be a shadow campaign this year. Check this out, y'all. The New York Times warns Americans 2024 election results could take a while. Uh-oh, here we go. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Look how Florida does it. They've got, I forget how many millions of people that live in that state. They can have their election, have all the votes counted that night. Everything's done. Boom. You got your winner. Why can't these other states do this? Why is it going to take a while? It just blows my mind. It's like they're trying to set up a conspiracy. Right? Like, they want to set up the conspiracy by giving us this article and then later say, oh no, these are just crazy conspiracy theorists that think the 2024 election was stuff. It's just blows my mind, the level of manipulation going on here. The New York Times is cautioning Americans that for the second consecutive presidential election, there may not be an immediate winner declared on election night. The delay could resemble the 2020 election, where early results differed from the final outcome due to the time required to process mail-in ballots. Now, I have a simple solution for this. How about you start the day before and count all those freaking mail-in ballots? Or how about we get rid of mailed-in ballots totally? Just get rid of it. Make Election Day an official holiday. Nobody works, everybody goes and votes, and we see who wins. You get more volunteers to go and poll watch and do all the ballot tabulating and all that garbage to counting all the stuff, blah, 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 you get it. That's what we should do, but instead, they want to play these freaking games. Oh, we were just counting mail-in ballots. That's what we were doing. You make it look very suspicious when you do stuff like this. When Trump is winning, he's up in the counts or whatever. He's winning. And then overnight, we go to bed and wake up, all of a sudden Joe Biden's the winner. Do you really think people aren't going to be suspicious about that? It's like they did it on purpose. They wanted January 6th to happen. They're just crazy. They set up these conspiracies and then call you crazy when you're like, what's going on here? This is nuts. This warning comes as a large number of Americans choose to vote by mail rather than in person, slowing down vote counting. Key battleground states like Arizona, where Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are nearly tied in most polls, are also known for lengthier vote counting processes, right? Arizona is one of the worst. Kari Lake should be the governor of Arizona right now. Arizona should be a red state. But no, they decided that they're going to get somebody to go in and change the ballot size. They're going to print 19-inch ballots on 20-inch paper. Like, how can you do that? Yeah, the tabulator's not going to count all that. All those votes got thrown out. And she brings the court cases, and it's still tied up in litigation right now. Yeah, still, till this day, she still has court cases going on. That was never addressed. Just that one district, that one precinct that did that. You should have an entire election, just redo the entire thing. That's not to speak of all the other anomalies that were going on in Arizona in 2022. That was one of the craziest things, and they were like, no, everything's fine, y'all. Got all these polling places closing down, lines around the damn street. It was insane. Once again, Kari Lake should be the governor of Arizona, but she's not. And the current governor of Arizona was the top election official. Like, she should have recused herself outright. That's impropriety. That's an odor of mendacity, as that judge in Georgia in the Fani Willis case said. That's a definite odor of mendacity when the top election official is in charge of the election that she is in herself, running against somebody. That it was one of the most insane cases I've ever seen in my entire life when it comes to elections. Just crazy. And everybody's like, no, everything's fine over here. Oh yeah, Katie Hobbs is the governor. Yeah, no. Kari Lake just lost. She just didn't have enough support. I call bull on that, y'all. I call bull on that. If you look at all the evidence, you probably would too. The New York Times emphasized that a delay in declaring a winner should not be seen as a failure of the system, but rather a result of the security measures involved in counting mail-in ballots. What? See what I mean? By they're goading us into this conspiracy theory, and later they're going to be like, no, you're crazy. Security measures, huh? That's how they want to put that out there? That's a bunch of garbage. These measures include signature verification and ensuring no individual voted twice, once by mail and once in person. Election officials also manually process mail-in ballots by taking them out of the envelope, flattening them, and putting them into a tabulator, which takes additional time. Yes, it does. Once again, why do we have mail-in ballots? It's garbage. You can have rampant fraud with this. Signature verification. We know that there is a thing called a forged signature that takes place all the time. Do you really think these volunteers that are working the counting all these mail-in votes, that are working these polls and all this garbage, are FBI signature analysts? Do you really think that they're going to know the difference? Right? Are they going to cross-reference each and every signature with the person's real signature? Are they going to do that? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. That would make it take forever, not just a couple of weeks. You're talking about millions of votes all across the country. Tens of millions of votes. Because, a lot of people vote by mail. As a matter of fact, in 2020, I think it was over 50% of people voted by mail. That's why we saw such a spike in vote count, right? Because 2016, Trump had 60-something million, 63 million, and Hillary Clinton had 65 million. Yeah, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Donald Trump won the Electoral College. Now, in 2020, Joe Biden had 81 million votes, and Donald Trump had 76. That's an insane jump in voter turnout. That's an insane jump. That's that's 20 plus million extra votes. Almost 30 million extra votes. In 2020, the election was not called until the Saturday after Election Day, with final counts showing that more Democrats voted by mail than Republicans. Duh. According to the Election Project, in the 20 states that reported party registration by ballot, 18 million Democrats voted by mail compared to 10 million Republicans. The margin was larger in several swing states as well. This trend of delayed results is expected to continue in 2024, though several states have improved their mail-in ballot process procedures. For example, Michigan passed a referendum in 2022 allowing officials to start processing ballots 8 days before Election Day. Yes, like I said earlier, this is a great idea. Why don't we take the Florida system and just nationalize that? Why don't these other states adopt Florida's system? Because something they're doing it right. After all that garbage that happened in 2004? After all that garbage, they completely reshuffled their election system. And whatever they did works. Works great. Works really great. However, swing states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin still lack legislation permitting early ballot processing, which will continue to contribute to delayed results. Pennsylvania's Secretary of State Al Schmidt noted that the challenge of slow vote counting has been known since 2020 but remains unaddressed. It's a technical challenge with a technical solution that everyone has known about since 2020, but legislation was never passed to address it, said Schmidt. State officials in battleground states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania have already stated publicly that full results from their states will not be available on election night. Officials continue to advise voters to remain patient and not be influenced by premature declarations of victory on election night, as full results may take days to finalize. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. It should not take that long whatsoever. Why don't they all start counting these mail-in ballots early? Or, like I said, let's just get rid of the mail-in ballots. Or how about, if you're 65 or older, you can vote by mail, but everybody else has to go to the polling station. But no, Democrats will never agree to that because, that's voter suppression. Even though you can't really explain how. Nobody can explain how any laws around voting is actual voter suppression. You might make it harder to vote, which it should be. It should not be the easiest thing in the world, right? Easy as pie. No, it shouldn't. It should be secure. Should be very secure. And it should be a process. Because we need integrity, right? If we would have had more integrity in 2020, I think we'd have a different result. Like, you're talking about the future of the country. It is very important that we get this right. Very important. It's of the utmost importance. Democrats are always talking about, oh, my democracy. Well, there you go, folks. But they are the ones that don't care about democracy. Look at their candidate, for crying out loud. The voters didn't vote for her. Nobody voted for her. They voted for Joe Biden. And he quit. And they just anointed Kamala Harris. And they don't care. That's what blows my mind. They don't care that the Democrats said, you are going to vote for her. You don't have any other choice. Getting told what to do. Like the Democrats are some dictators. Getting told who to vote for. That's Chinese Communist Party garbage. Not the United States. And not the democracy that you guys are constantly railing about. Gnashing your teeth. Trump's a threat to democracy. That's why I call Democrats insane. Just outright insane. They're grifting. They're everything under the sun, as a matter of fact. They're doing everything under the sun to manipulate Democrat voters who don't seem to care, even when it's pointed out to them. When it's pointed out, they don't care. They just go right along with it. Vote blue no matter who, y'all. And they're going to continue to do that. I don't get it. And they wonder why we call them sheep. They're sheeple, for crying out loud. You wonder that. You know, it's no surprise to me that Democrats don't care that they give their hard-earned money to Act Blue, right? They donate money to politics. And then guess what these people do? They take your money and they file lawsuits to make less democracy, whilst at the same time yelling and screaming about Trump's a threat to democracy. Yeah, they sued RFK Jr., Jill Stein, Cornel West, Dean Phillips, every single Democrat candidate. They sued. They took your hard-earned money that you donated to Act Blue to go to a politician to help their campaign out, and they used that to create less democracy for you, and then told you who to vote for. It's one of the most insane things I've ever seen, and I'll still get people down in the comment section like, oh, you're just shilling for Trump. No. Yo, you guys are freaking crazy. You get all these Democrats to sue to keep Democrats off the Democratic primary, and then you call Trump a threat to democracy? You guys have lost your freaking mind. Y'all are just insane. There's no hyperbole about that. You guys are outright insane. And then get told who to vote for. I'm sorry. Any of your insults from Democrats coming toward me, I don't care anymore. Do not care about any insult. You want to call me a shill? You want to call me a Trumper? You call me whatever. I don't care. I've seen what makes you laugh, what makes you praise Democrats. That freaking just out of touch with everything. To get told who to vote for, to have your donations go to lawfare, for crying out loud, to keep good Democratic candidates off the ballot. Dean Phillips would have been a star. I listened to a lot of his stuff. I was curious about Dean Phillips. He would have been a true threat to Donald Trump if the corporate press would have pushed him. But they didn't. They didn't. Joe Biden knew he wasn't going to make it. It's insane. But I've ranted on for long enough. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Is this just the setup for a conspiracy? They're going to call, oh, you guys are just crazy conspiracy theorists. That's sure as hell what it seems like to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.